Good day, Salt Church, and everybody else who's watching. My name is Chris Knight, pastor of Salt Church from a very hot, sunny, but very humid Spain. Our members of the congregation are doing some encouragement videos, and I'd like to introduce for a second time Linda Moore, who's going to expand upon what it means to love thy neighbour, but particularly from the angle of loving ourselves.
Hello, do you remember we were talking about loving thy neighbour and being kind in these rather difficult times? Well, in that commandment, there are two words I didn't talk much about, and it was love thyself or as thyself. It's not a commandment, it's assuming that you do love yourself already. After all said and done, you were created by God, you were his design, he was the architect, he was the potter, you were the clay. And you are perfect in every way, in his image. You don't need to be anybody else. You shouldn't want to be anybody else, but you should love what you have been given. And when you do that, you are in a good position then to go out and love somebody else. But we have to look after ourselves. And loving ourselves is not being selfish. It's not being vain, so long as we put everybody else first. We need to look after ourselves. Now, our temples, it is written, our bodies are a temple, and we have to look after them. It's the same as going into our church or a temple. We don't want to see rubbish or hazards or anything that is not special for our building. And it's exactly the same for our bodies. We are what we eat, what we drink, what we do, who we go with, where we go, everything, because the temple is the home of Christ, and we need to honor that. And of course, I think in today's world, when we're talking about bodies, we're thinking of food, and I think this recent lockdown has shown us a lot of things about ourselves, that when we couldn't actually get the items in the shops that we thought we wanted, we made some fantastic dishes at home from natural, pure ingredients, store cupboard stuff that was free of artificial additives and preservatives, and we found that we actually didn't need those things we thought we did. And it's the same with exercise. I suppose here I could use a modern day parable of a car, where if you neglect it, if you don't put the right fuel in, or keep it locked in a garage, you don't look at the tire pressures, you don't take it for servicing, it's not going to be good to anybody. And so if your friend needs a lift, an urgent lift to the airport, is he going to ask you with probably a lot of problems getting it out the garage, or the person that keeps theirs running at full tilt? And I think we know the answer to that. Now, the Bible is the best and probably the first health book and fitness book that we could possibly have for everything we need emotionally, physically, spiritually. The answer is there. You only have to look. It says so often, I am your burden, give it to me. And that's what we need to do. It's the same with exercise. Look at the exercise during lockdown. People all of a sudden couldn't get to their gyms, but then incredibly found wonderful ways of exercising at home. And that's what we need to do. We need to nourish ourselves, to care for ourselves. God wants us to have a rhythm of life, of work and play. Spirituality is the most important part of this, and this is, of course, socializing with God. So it's getting away from your normal life and spending more time with him. The more time you spend with him, the more time you are loving yourself and nurturing yourself and putting yourself in a better position to go and help others. And it took me a long time to realize that going to a desolate place and spending time with him is so incredibly rewarding. Now, life isn't about correction. It's not about studying every single thing. But what we do need to do is know that unless we love ourselves truly and look after ourselves, we're not in a position to spring up and to be that first person to help that neighbor, to either physically or mentally, if we're worn out. And Jesus so many times took his disciples away from the crowds and told them to rest and eat because he couldn't give any more. So I urge you this summer, come with me on a time of self-appraisal. loving yourself again, looking at yourself again, spending more time with God, keeping fit and healthy, and preparing yourself in a better way than we've done before. And the summer is a good time to do this. It is not a time when we need to do a lot more than just look after ourselves. So I pray that you will all do this with me this summer, so we are better fit for God to carry out his commandment. God bless.